Good evening, everyone. Should we start the session or we will wait for a few more candidates to join? My screen is visible, right? So today we will start with another microcontroller board, that is Raspberry Pi. So what is Raspberry Pi and what is its evaluation and how this board has come from, where it has come from, and the board dimensions, board specifications, this architecture of the processor, which is how to interface, and this is a complete system board. Okay. So using this system board, we want to boot the OS, and that process also will be showing live in the class today. So hope my audio and presentation is clear. Everyone is able to hear me. Sorry, voice is too low. Now you are able to hear. See, if you do not use earphones or if you turn on the complete speaker of your phone, okay, then it will be difficulty for you to get the voice. Okay. So I am having a throat infection for the long 5 to 10 days. I can speak this much maximum, but I'll try to explain as much as clear as possible. Okay. So for today's session, we are going to cover about Raspberry Pi. So what is Raspberry Pi? Raspberry Pi is a small computer device, okay, that is built based on UK company, okay. So the processor used on the Raspberry Pi is Broadcom, and the processor explanation and all these things will come in the later slides. So Raspberry Pi is based on Linux operating system. So whatever the customized OS that we are going to boot on the Raspberry Pi board, that is Linux family. So if we have Windows, so in Windows we have different kinds of flavors like Windows Desktop, Windows Client, Windows Server, and Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 8, and different versions. But whereas coming to Linux, we have different kinds of flavors of Linux like Red Hat, okay, Ubuntu, CentOS, Arch Linux, Scientific Linux, Profi Linux. So similarly, based on the Linux OS properties, the Raspberry Pi team has developed a customized OS for Raspberry Pi board. That OS is called Raspbian OS. Okay. Raspberry Pi is a small size. It's almost all a size of half of the size of our phone. It's like similar to our Nokia phone, old Nokia. Okay. And low cost. It's a single board. Supports embedded Linux operating system also. Okay. We can write the device drivers. We can write real-time operating system OS and all those things using Raspberry Pi. The recommended operating system is called Raspberry Pi OS, which is Linux based. So as we have told, Raspberry Pi runs on Linux platform with a customized OS of Raspbian. Okay. Next slide is, this is Raspberry Pi board. So how it looks like externally, the same diagram. Okay. So the silver color, this one, this is processor. Okay. This is LAN, Ethernet. These are two USB ports, 2.4. This is two USB ports, one on top. Okay. They are stacked 3.4. And next is, this is 9 mm audio jack, where we can connect our earphones. Audio. Next is slit. This is like a slit. we need to open it. We need to insert a ribbon kind of cable that is for camera. Okay, there are two HDMI, HDMI 1 and HDMI 2. These two HDMIs are used to connect it to external monitor. And this is Type C power cable. And beneath the board, bottom side, okay, there is a SD card reader. We need to insert the SD card. The above slit pin is used to connect to display, like touch display or any kind of LCD kind of display or anything. Okay, customized display for Raspberry Pi. And apart from this, we have GPIO pins. Clear all this much slide? Bhavani, Sirisha, Raja. Yes, thank you. The Raspberry Pi is a small computer that can do lots of things. Okay, it has small footprint size about 9 cross 6 centimeters. Okay, the length of the board is 9 centimeters and the width of the board is 6 centimeters. And the thickness of board is some 5 to 4 mm. Okay. You plug into the monitor, attach keyboard and mouse. It has GPIO pins, general purpose input output pins, and we can interface electronic components like LEDs, sensors. Raspberry Pi is well suited for prototyping, data logging, and different electronic projects, a media center, etc. So data logging means it's like database. Okay, so we can build a server out of Raspberry Pi computes in a cluster, and we can build some electronic projects like in the initial I have told you we have worked for a project called water quality management for number of fish ponds or fish cultivation, aquapods. Okay, next is media center. Media center is nothing but our local cars, dashboards, media players. That kind of systems also we can build out using touch display connected to the DPI pin, and memory card is there to boot the OS, and we can make the customization as per our requirement. Raspberry Pi can be used for programming and other IT technical skills learning. Okay, so the person in previous days, when we were starting the Raspberry Pi topics in trainings, some colleges doesn't have an infrastructure for computers. So in that case, we have made a setup for Raspberry Pi lab. So we used to request the management to get 60 to 70 Raspberry Pi boards, monitors, keyboards, mouse, and adapters. They are all connected to students directly, and whatever they need to do the access or the fix the data, we used to connect some single server. From that server, they used to do all their programming IT works in a computer lab. Okay, so as the Raspberry Pi OS is a Linux platform, so people who wants to write or learn Python, and the people who wants to write C programming, Java programming or anything, they used to install Java interpreter. It is very easy. and they used to install GCC compiler. Okay, that is also very easy and lightweight. So that's how Raspberry Pi computer are self-sustained to meet the requirement of lab. So there was very huge amount of demand for learning of Raspberry Pi in 2012 and 2008 at that times. So people or colleges, those who doesn't have their laptops, and students they cannot afford to buy a laptop, and the colleges used to build Raspberry Pi lab for them. This is how the programming and IT technical skills, other learning activities were made on Raspberry Pi. It is very cheap also. Okay. Raspberry Pi has limited CPU, RAM, etc. So if you want to buy 2 GB RAM, okay, with 100 GB of hard disk, Windows OS, and 4 GB of RAM, Intel i3 processor, we are putting a cost of almost all around 25 to 30,000 in the market. Going for a brand laptop like Lenovo, HP, Dell, or anything else. Whereas Raspberry Pi is globally certified as a computer board where electronics engineer they can experiment, learn, they can boot, and they can make any kind of prototype. See, if they want to build any prototype like computer, full-fledged computer, they can build using Raspberry Pi. They can interface web camera, they can interface display, they can interface monitors, they can interface other microcontroller boards based on the GPU. So mainly in our laptops or in our desktops, we have hard disk, which is made up of SSD and nowadays NVMe and other words we used HDD, that is old one, hard disk. But whereas coming to Raspberry Pi, it is comparatively very much faster than our laptop because they are using hard drives called as SD cards. SD cards are nothing but flash drives. They are almost a size of 64 GB, 128 GB, 32 GB, 16 GB, and worst case, minimum case, we need to use 8 GB. Using 8 GB memory card, we are going to build a computer using Raspberry Pi. So, what actually Raspberry Pi is? Raspberry Pi is a computer which has GPU pins, which is helpful for research and development of prototyping a Raspberry Pi lab and learning activity, IT skills development activity, and it is faster than normal computer using hard drive of flash like SD cards. Even we can boot Raspberry Pi using a 8 GB pen drive or 16 GB pen drive or 32 GB pen drive. Okay, so how we need to boot, how we need to install OS, that all things will be shown in the comment. Clear so far, everyone? Is everyone listening to my class or sleeping? Yes. So as it is a long weekend, okay, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, okay, so you people are in a relaxed day. Someone is typing yes sir and everyone is putting yes. Is that correct? It's okay. Okay. But be attentive to learn the things very quickly as you are young generation. Next is Raspberry Pi block diagram. So as we have seen initially, the breakout board, the similar, we are seeing the block diagram. So we have microprocessor, which is the silver color, and RAM, And ROM, there is no ROM. Actually, the ROM is nothing but hard disk. That is SD card. Next is camera, HDMI cables, and audio jack, power cables, USB ports, four USB ports. And next is RJ45 internet connected. And next is camera module. And some LEDs for power and other sources. So 40 pin GPIO. We have 40 GPIO pins here, electronic components. So we have other kinds of peripherals that which we can connect using this 40 pin GPIO. Like I2C, HDA, UART, SPI, I2S, general purpose input output, ADC, DAC, PWA. All these peripherals, those are multiple functionalities of 40 pins GPIO. If you see the detailed description of 40 pin GPIO of Raspberry Pi 5. This is fifth version of Raspberry Pi. Whatever we are teaching or whatever we are learning in the class is Raspberry Pi 5 developed. So this is the architectural explanation. So the architecture is nothing but the internal brief understanding about peripherals, processor, and its interfaces. Raspberry Pi mainly consists of the following blocks: processor. What is the processor we are using? Broadcom DCF 2835, which is system on chip, SoC. And this SoC is built out from ARM, Advanced Risk Machine. What's the full form of ARM processor? Advanced Risk Machine. And this advanced risk machine processor architecture is built from Broadcom PCM 2834. This is the processor series. And video graphic processing unit GPU. There is graphical processing unit also on the Raspberry Pi. It is heart of the Raspberry Pi, which controls the operations of all the connected devices and handles all the required computations. See, Raspberry Pi has a DCM 2835 SoC. SoC is nothing but system on chip, which is the architecture of ARM, Advanced Risk Machine. Using this technology, and we have also GPU, Graphical Processing Unit. Considering these are the hard components that are main components of the Raspberry Pi, CPU and GPU, which controls the operations of the connected devices. So whatever the devices we connect to the Raspberry Pi board externally or internally, okay, those all are controlled using CPU and GPU computer. Clear, everyone? Koti Veerabhadra. Ramya, thank you. Shiva, thank you. Krishna, thank you. Hope you are attending. At the last, I will take a 5 minutes time to explain the architecture. Okay. So I will also give you some assignments, questions to you today. So apart from processor, we have HDM, high definition multimedia interface. Is used for transmitting video or digital audio data to the computer monitor. So we are using this HDM. So till now we have understood about processor. Next is HDMI. HDMI is nothing but high definition. What's the full form of HDMI? High definition multimedia interface. Thank you. Good answer. Someone only one person is attending my class. Ravi teacher, thank you. Only very few people are listening to my class. High definition multimedia interface. So to transfer the data from DCM, which is sitting on the Raspberry Pi, to the display unit. Display unit is nothing but monitor or TV, okay, whichever it might be. So this HDMI is making a communication between Raspberry Pi and monitor. The next point is general purpose ports. General purpose input output ports are available on the Raspberry Pi, which allows the users to interface various input output devices like sensors, display units like LCD or LEDs or any peripherals. Peripherals like printer, okay, thermal printer, exactly. So we will use in shopping malls, okay, there is a very building small counter, okay, that has small amount of printer that internally has some kind of microcontroller or microprocessor board. When we connect directly to the touch screen of the monitor, they tap something to add the items to the cart and make it a bill and print as a slip. So in that case is also we will use the general purpose output devices, thermal printers. Next is audio output. We can connect the headphones, speakers as the output devices to the Raspberry Pi board. Next is we have four USB ports. Two USB ports are 2.0 and two USB ports are 3.0. Next is we can interface SD card. SD card slot is available below the Raspberry Pi board. So this SD card is hard disk. Next is Ethernet. Ethernet is nothing but LAN card. So we have 1 Gbps Ethernet card on the Raspberry Pi board, which is equivalent to our laptop. Next is power supply, which is 5 volts adapter, USB power supply, Type C connection. Clear? Next. Coming to the versions. Raja, thank you. Next is, I have told you one more. We have the display. This slit open. This is camera and this is display. So the display is using the protocol or the peripheral interface, display serial interface, DSI, is used to connect LCD to the Raspberry Pi using 15 to 15 pin ribbon cable. Okay, so if someone have got a repair of your mobile phone, okay, there are some ribbon kind of cables like strips. It is connected directly to our mobile phone board and mobile phone display. So those kind of ribbon kind of cables we are going to insert here for display. Clear? Which is high resolution completely. The different versions of Raspberry Pi board. The initial version of Raspberry Pi board was launched in 2012, okay, which has only one Ethernet port, two USB ports, audio, and video. Video is connected directly to the what we call this connector, the yellow one. The yellow one is called DMC connector. See, in olden days, CRT monitor TVs we used to have. to connect to the display, we used to have some green color, yellow color, red color cables. So those kind of cables we need to use here to connect. Those type of connectors are called DMC connectors. Okay. The very first version of Raspberry Pi created a small big flash, small single board computer. Okay. So this has two ports of USB, one port of Ethernet, one port of audio, one port of video, and slit ribbon display and slit ribbon camera. And the HDMI port is also the bigger one, like our TV and monitor. This is the first version. And the GPIO pins are also very less. It is almost all 20 or 25, I think. Let us see. And it used to support only micro SD card slot for the installation. And this processor, Raspberry Pi DCM, has almost all 200 MB of RAM. Next is Raspberry Pi Model A, which is launched in 2013. Okay, with slightly advancements in processor. Okay. The Raspberry Pi Model B was the second version of the device to be released. This board was a cost-reduced version of the original Pi. The first one is A version. This version is A version, which is released in 2012. And in 2013, we have released a Model B. The second chance with this board is removal of USB port. Unfortunately, the removal of the port means the Pi. This B version board has only one USB port. Either we can connect only one device, that is keyboard or mouse. Whereas in the previous board, we are able to connect both mouse and keyboard. Next is, other than removing these two components, the version is same, like Raspberry Pi A and Raspberry Pi B. The advanced version of the Raspberry Pi Model B is B+, which is released in 2014. So this has one Ethernet, 4 USB ports, okay, HDMI cable, 3.5 mm audio jack, full-sized SD card, and the RAM is also 512 MB. So the previous one, the RAM was approximately around 200 MB. And the RAM is likely keep on increasing. That is system on chip RAM. That is ASIC, application specific integrated circuit. So when the Broadcom processor is being developed with ARM architecture, they are slightly keep on increasing the versions from Raspberry Pi Model A to Raspberry Pi Model B and Raspberry Pi Model B to Raspberry Pi Model B+. 2012, 2013, 2014. In 2014, we have got Raspberry Pi Model B+, okay, which is having 4 USBs, 1 Ethernet, and with a RAM size of 512 MB, which has GPIO pins of 26 pins. The old, this old board is having 26 GPIO pins. The new board, Raspberry Pi Model B+ has 40 GPIO pins. And these 40 GPIO pins are still now consistent. And this is slightly advanced version of Raspberry Pi Model A. And this is A+. Just they tried to reduce the size of the board Okay, 9 cross 6 to 8 cross 4, I think, almost 8 centimeters length and 4 centimeters width or breadth. And they have removed one Ethernet port, that is LAN port, and using Wi-Fi, they need to connect it to this board. In all previous boards also, there was Wi-Fi and Ethernet. Okay, so we used to connect Ethernet directly and later after to the Wi-Fi after booting the OS Raspberry. But directly on the boot time, we need to give the Wi-Fi username and password so that the OS gets directly connected to the username and password of the Raspberry Pi boot OS in a model A+. Yes, there is some question. Yes, yes. All the boards contains HDMI model, but the HDMI model is the larger one, which we are connecting it to our TV backside or laptop. But later after that, HDMI has become mini HDMI. They are trying to squeeze the size of the board for their product level. So they have removed Ethernet, one USB, and they have reduced the peripherals. This is the power port. This is micro USB, which is our old Samsung charger, and this is our old HDMI and one USB. This is camera, and this is display port, and beneath the board we have SD cards. So I am unable to click here the image, so I could have shown you the image. I'll try to show the board physically in camera after the comparison is completed. So next is in 2015 model A plus we have got this is Raspberry Pi 0. So here you can see the SD card. This is SD card. This is processor. This is HDMI. This is display. These are power. These are the GPA. This is 40 pin header GPA. This is processor HD. This is model Raspberry Pi 0. So they want to reduce the size as the application. Okay, SD card, HDMI, two mini USB chargers, and display port. And this is also having 512 GB of RAM. What are the comparisons we have seen from 2012? Raspberry Pi model A, Raspberry Pi model B, Raspberry Pi model B plus, Raspberry Pi model A plus, Raspberry Pi 0. Clear? These are programmed by embedded C language, sir. Sivananda Reddy. So we can use embedded C programming also. Okay. So instead of using embedded C, we can directly write the C code using GCC compiler. So the previous boards which we have learned, like Arduino and ESP8266 Node MCU, those are firmware based boards. Here we are writing the pseudo code using binaries or using compilers. But whereas in Raspberry Pi board, this is OS based. So this has inbuilt operating systems. So in this, we have to compile, interpret, or check the result of the code using different softwares like Python, GCC compiler, or any kind of programming compilers, which we can install on Raspberry OS. Oh, clear? Shivananda. Shivananda ready? Yes, sir. Next is, sir, where is the camera in Raspberry Pi Zero? There is no camera slot, I think. So we can directly connect using GPIO ports. So I'm not sure whether this port is multiplexed, either you can use for a GPIO or Raspberry Pi display. Okay. You can just check in the internet. Okay, sir. Next is, sir, there is other board similar to Raspberry Pi. Yes, we have many other boards also similar to Raspberry Pi, but they are very costly. Intel Galileo board, okay, BeagleBone Black from Texas Instruments, and ST Micro boards which are used in our car automations, SGB. But whereas Raspberry Pi is used for R&D, project development, prototype development, okay, so that is why these Raspberry Pi boards are very much clear. Lalitendra, Lalitendra Potsaraj. Okay, sir. Right. So, what is the next slide? Raspberry Pi model 3, model B, which is launched in 2016. Okay. This is also having similar, okay, and there are slight improvements. Okay, they have added Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, onboard, and the processor will be running based on 900 megahertz to 1.2 gigahertz frequency, the ARM controller board, and this is based on ARM Cortex A7. ARM Cortex A7, and the processor is Cortex A53 based on. The previous one, the boards which are developed till 2015 are based on ARM Cortex A7. Okay, in 2016, Raspberry Pi board is released based on ARM Cortex A53. Okay. Similarly, I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, you are using your mobile phone, and that is completely based on ARM architecture. Okay, so what kind of ARM processor or ARM architecture your mobile phone processor is using? Please post your comments. I'll wait for 2 minutes. If someone is clear or not, just let me know. Our smartphone is based on ARM microarchitecture. So what is the processor architecture or the processor series? Which kind of Cortex series is our mobile phone processor using? I'm not asking about OS, Chandra Mohan. I'm asking about the hardware architecture. Exactly, Sunil Ghosh. Snapdragon is a processor name. Okay, so here also Snapdragon is also from Broadcom. Okay, or Qualcomm. Sorry, yes, yes. A78, Ravi Teja, thank you. Vamshi G610. I am not aware about this processor. A78 is the ARM Cortex. Okay, that is application series. Yeah, KCS Prasad Qualcomm. Okay, but what is the your mobile phone processor Cortex series, which is based on ARM platform A78 Raja A76 Relax 2 MediaTek Sivananda Reddy MediaTek check out Nagarappu Sivananda Reddy octa-core, but somehow that processor are sir iOS also Apple also processor has some architecture based out of course or based out of architecture. So in computer architecture, we have learned many things. Okay, von Neumann architecture, Harvard architecture, RISC architecture, CISC architecture. Okay, in ARM also we have different kinds of architectures. So in ARM we have application series, development series, and next is R&D series. So in laptop, Intel is different. Okay, so this is a comparison to mobile Sivananda Reddy. So the Raspberry Pi is comparison with the phone. Okay, so if we have the comparison with a laptop, i3 Intel i3 is a different architecture. That is RISC architecture, reduced instruction set computing, and Harvard architecture or von Neumann architecture based on the memory categorization. Okay. So I am asking if you are using a mobile phone, okay, if it is based out of ARM architecture, okay, if you deep dive or check the processor. So my old phone is OnePlus. So it was having Snapdragon 7 series something. So which is based out of uh, Cortex A56 series. That is application series. Similarly, I don't remember the complete series, but it is application. A stands for application, and the number is A7, A53, A56, A76, 78 like that. Okay, that has different kinds of series. Sivananda Reddy, what didn't you understand? How to check the architecture for our mobile phones are Aditya. So just Google it out. So if you know the processor, you go to your about your system or about your processor. Okay, type uh, the processor name or number and check the data sheet. In the data sheet, they will be giving you the ARM Cortex architecture or any kind of other architecture which is dedicated from Samsung or MediaTek or any kind of. So clear, Aditya? Yes, sir. So Sivananda Reddy, is that clear? Yes, sir. So next, moving on further. So this is completely lightweight board in 2017. Okay. So this board, they were using it for applications in the market. So this board, they have uh, Bluetooth, which is BLE, low power BLE. And next is Wi-Fi, which is operating around 2.4 gigahertz single band. Okay. So if it is dual band, receive and transmit. If it is single band, only receive. Okay. The addition of these two connectivity options was massive improvement for the board. Before this release, you needed to use a single USB. Okay. So either you need to connect dongle, either you need to connect uh, what we call keyboard or mouse with single USB. But whereas if they are built up with Wi-Fi, okay, connectivity, we can directly connect it to the wireless network. Next is 2018 Raspberry Pi model B+. So this board has got a GPU with a clock frequency of 250 megahertz to 400 megahertz. And the processor or the CPU frequency is having 1.2 gigahertz to 1.4 gigahertz. Okay. So almost all, it is half of our i3 or i5 processor. So even i3, i5 processor will work on 2 to 3 gigahertz. But whereas Raspberry Pi itself is having 1.2 gigahertz to 1.4 gigahertz. And it is having GPU. And if we are using i3, i5, we need to have onboard graphic card of NVIDIA or Intel or AMD. Okay, so we have system on chip, CPU and GPU. And the GPU frequency is 250 megahertz to 400 megahertz. Okay, clear? And the previous one, the internet or the Ethernet, they were supporting only 10 megabits per second. Now they are supporting around 1 gig. That is 1000 megabits per second. And from the previous version of Wi-Fi, they were using only single band. Now they are improved it to dual band, and the frequency is 2.4 to 5 gigahertz. They have increased the Wi-Fi frequency on chip. Next is in 2019 A plus model. Is there any question? Fine. So slightly they have increased the RAM to 1 GB from 512 MB. Till 2018, we were using only 512 MB of RAM in the processor, that is system on chip, and later on we got 1 GB RAM. And our laptops are surviving with 8 to 16 GB of RAMs nowadays. And even more also. Some laptops are having 32 GB RAM. Okay. So here, as a Raspberry Pi Model 3 A plus in 2019, they have launched with 1 GB of RAM. Clear? Next is 2020 model. And this has come up with Cortex A72 microarchitecture, which is advanced architecture of ARM. And this is Raspberry Pi model B4 series. Okay. And they are covering drivers of Broadcom Video Core GP. Okay. And next is 2021 Raspberry Pi 400, which is compact, which is completely a full system board. It is integrated in a keyboard directly, and we can have some touchpad also, or we can connect mouse externally. Raspberry Pi 400, which is launched in 2021. So this has USB 2.0, USB 3.0, LAN, okay, and power and SD card and micro, mini HDMI, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Okay, directly we have interfaced to a keyboard. And externally you can connect to the USB monitor. USB to the mouse and a mini HDMI to the monitor. Clear so far? These are the different versions. And the latest version, we are using Raspberry Pi 5. Till here, we are using Raspberry Pi model 4, okay, till 2020 and 2022, 23, 23 also. Okay, and 2023, end of October, they have launched Raspberry Pi model 5. So this has mini HDMI, 2 ports, and 40 pin GPI board. I'll directly show you. Okay. I'll unbox first of all. So everyone can see here. So today I have got Raspberry Pi model 5. So this is Raspberry Pi model 5, which has 4 USB ports. The blue color ones are USB 3.0 and Ethernet cable, and these two are USB 2.0. And this is Broadcom processor, which is having 4 GB of RAM. Okay, and this has 2 camera display ports, camera 1, camera 2, and this is display. And next is 2 HDMI, and this is the power cable, and these all are 40 pin GPI board. And in the bottom of the board, we should not use bare hands to touch, but because electrostatic energy will be there. So this is having SD card. You can see here, this is SD card. So we need to insert this SD card. This SD card we used to use in our old mobile phones previously, where we should have get the inbuilt storage in our mobile phones. And this is power switch. So in previous boards, we did not get the power switch, and this has inbuilt Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all the peripherals. Is it clear? Everyone is able to see my screen and camera. I need to check the comments. Why? Because voice is disabled. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. So I'll pause for 1 minute. I'll fetch a cup of water and a small tea. Okay, 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Okay, be online. Next, we will go for the session of installation process. How we need to boot the OS, how we need to take care of installation of OS in the Raspberry Pi. So there is some methodical procedure. So I'll explain you how to do that. Okay. For now, I am closing my camera and stopping the screen sharing. Or else, if you want to check something else, you please let me know. So just wait for 2 minutes. By 6:05, we'll start the session about installation of OS in Raspberry. Clear, everyone? Should we continue in this way? Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, can we extend the RAM of Raspberry Pi? Aditya, that's what. So this is why the reason I have explained Raspberry Pi versions is from Raspberry Pi starting version, Raspberry Pi model A, model B, model B plus, and the recent Raspberry Pi 4 is having only 2 GB of RAM. Raspberry Pi model 4, okay, that is having 2 GB of RAM. So the process is becoming slow. If you want to run some high-end applications like artificial intelligence, machine learning coding, or even some large amount of algorithm of code for water quality management. So that is becoming very low computation, and the board is getting too much heated up. These are pros and cons of the boards. Okay, so let us understand this much. Okay, so for that, the Raspberry Pi R&D team has increased the system on chip memory, that is from 2 GB to 4 GB memory RAM. Clear, Aditya? Murali, I'm not sure how about the security, cyber security and IoT. So I was mostly habituated or developed some projects, real-time projects using Raspberry Pi IoT, not about cyber security. I'm not sure about cyber security, so I will not comment unless and until I get clarity on the cyber security part. I'm not from the cyber security background. Okay. So Kali Linux we can install. Yes, yes. So as the Ubuntu we are able to install on Raspberry Pi, we can install Kali Linux also. But we need to check what are the settings for the OS we need to do. Murli, is it fine? Okay. Hope you are happy with my answer. Okay, sir. Thank you. Next is how would you set up Raspberry Pi for remote access? So there are some remote access protocols. Okay. So I'll help you how to access uh, remotely this Raspberry Pi has a remote location. So you have installed Raspberry Pi in your college lab, and you have laptop at your home. You want to do some practice. Okay. So you need to get a remote access. How to do that remote access? I'll help you how to do that setup. Okay. Clear? There are some protocols and settings. Raja, will it be fine? Right. So please allow me 2 minutes. I'll fetch a glass of water and cup of tea. By 6:10, I'll start sharply how to boot Raspberry Pi OS. Clear? Will it be fine? Chandini? Yes, sir. Go ahead. So should we start about the installation of? So if everyone is back, very quick break. Yes, yes. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. So, and another presentation for installation of Raspberry Pi. So initially, before doing all this, I'll directly show on my laptop. Okay. So I'll turn on the, you can see the camera and whatever activity I'm doing. So this is SD card reader, the green color one. Okay, I have inserted SD card where I want to boot the OS. So I am inserted the SD card. I am putting it to the laptop. Okay. Now, after inserting it to the laptop, I need to check which drive it has opted for. It is D drive. Okay. So it is of 8 GB. So next, using SD card formatter. SD card formatter is nothing but it will clean all the firmware also. It will clean all the firmware which is developed by SD card. So the important firmware where we require is only kept for the SD card, and remaining things, the unwanted junk, everything will be vanished out. So using SD card formatter, we have to format first SD card. Yes. Okay. Once after the SD card format is complete, okay, you can close this. And next is using Google, go for Raspberry Pi OS download. Okay. So if you click on this, it will ask for download for Windows. So that is nothing but installer. This kind of setup installer will come. So we need to choose which device we are connecting. We are connected to the Raspberry Pi 5, or we have all the flavors from the starting. Raspberry Pi 1, Raspberry Pi 0, Raspberry Pi 2, Raspberry Pi 3, Raspberry Pi 4, Raspberry Pi 5. Choose the Raspberry Pi 5. Operating system, the recommended one. Okay, the 64-bit. And next is choose storage, which we have inserted. So previously it was 7.4 GB. And when I did using SD card formatting, it became 7.9 GB. And there is only 0.1 GB of firmware code, which is developed by SD card. Okay, I'm opting for this. There are some comments. Hi, this is Sanjay. Yes, Sanjay, please tell me if you have any question. Hope everyone is following. I came from BBC Odal. Yeah, that's fine, Sanjay. Next, after selecting Raspberry Pi device, operating system, and storage where I have to boot the OS, click on next. And next is, if you want to give some initial settings, you can put the initial settings. So I'm setting up the username, password, and my Wi-Fi LAN connection. That is wireless Wi-Fi device. And I'm setting up the Wi-Fi device name, password, and next is a time zone and a keyboard. Next, click OK. Next, apply these changes. Do you want to continue? Yes. Then it will take some time to write the disk, or it will take some time to boot the SD card. It is preparing. So I have made already one set of SD card for booting the OS. So what we will do is it will take little bit more time, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Meanwhile, what we will do, we'll insert this booted up SD card in the slot and we'll power up it. So I need to connect one mouse and keyboard also. So meanwhile, I'll manage with my uh, laptop transfer. CMI0 I have connected. And okay, keyboard from my response. So I'll show you in camera. This is how I made the connections. Okay. So this is Raspberry Pi board. I have connected to the mini HDMI to my monitor. Okay. And next is USB ports for mouse and keyboard. And I have inserted already booted up SD card. Okay. In the back here. So let's power up using Raspberry Pi adapter. So I have kept this Raspberry Pi special adapter, which is having 5.5 volts to 9 volts rating. Type C. Sorry for moving the camera. Try to adjust. So once I power it on, you can see the Raspberry Pi. Yeah, you can see there is some power LED blinking. Okay, green color here. This is power button. It is taking longer time to boot. And if the boot process has come up, I'll show you the display. So this is how I made the presentation. So once we select the OS and Raspberry Pi model device, operating system and storage. So here we are going for OS customizations. If we have any customizations, we can choose, or else we can go for no. Then after, if we are having any customizations, we need to select username and password, wireless settings, Wi-Fi name and password, and local settings like time zone. Okay, Sanjay. So it's taking longer time to boot up due to a lot of OS code. Okay, as normal. So hope this installation procedure is fine with you. First of all, using the SD card formatter, we need to format the SD card where we want to load the OS. Next is after formatting that SD card, we need to go for SD card Raspberry Pi installer. We need to download it from this URL. So I'll share this URL link also in the chat box. Okay. So we need to download the installer image. So next, after downloading this, we need to choose the installer. So this installer will choose what board we need to select, the series board. Okay. So next is operating system we want to install, Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit. That it will show the recommended one. So apart from that, I will be showing what are the available OS operating systems where we can boot the Raspberry Pi board. Next is storage, the SD card part. Okay. Next, click on next. So when you click on the next, I am selecting Raspberry Pi 5 board. Next is OS, the recommended one. Okay. Raspberry Pi 64-bit compatible for Raspberry Pi 3, 4, 400 and 5. Next is which storage I need to select, like SD card. Next is if I want to do any settings, edit settings, the edit settings are related to username, password. Next one is Wi-Fi, username and password, Wi-Fi device name. Next is time zone settings. And the next other things are, these all are general settings. Once after these general settings are done, you can go for booting or you can enable the services also. What are the services we have? Like enable SSH. SSH is nothing but remote shell connect. Using SSH. So in Windows, we used to connect using RDP, and using Linux, we can connect using SSH. So once after the connection is done, it will ask you to prompt for eject. The OS is complete for the boot, and you need to eject the SD card. Then you can remove the SD card. If you want to set the administrator password for your Raspberry Pi imager, you can set here also. Clear? If you have any questions, please let me know. I am not sure. This is the R&D piece we got from Blackbucks. So, so the commercial version, this is R&D, not the commercial version. So this commercial version needs some licenses. So this is R&D version of Raspberry Pi. So Blackbucks team has bought it for teaching. So I'm not sure how much it costs. Yeah, will it be fine? You can check in the internet directly, Amazon also. Raspberry Pi 5, the price. Or you can go to the official site also, Raspberry Pi. There you can check the price also. Yeah, is it okay? Yeah, it might be. So you can build many things out of this as a learning. So I said you can build a computer itself. 4 GB RAM itself is a huge thing. Okay. If you want 4 GB RAM with some 100 GB SSD and i3 processor, it is costing around 30-35,000 in the market. Okay. Whereas simple Raspberry Pi board is costing around, as per IIDT, it is 8.5. Okay. So it's a good learning R&D board for electronics engineer in embedded systems and IoT. And you can write many other things also based on Ubuntu, RTOS, and real-time free RTOS also, and device drivers, Linux coding also you can do. Even shell scripting also you can do. Many other things. As I have told you earlier, we have set up a Raspberry Pi lab itself for some colleges in AP and Telangana. Any questions? Please let me know. Today's topic we have covered about Raspberry Pi. What is Raspberry Pi? And what are the versions of Raspberry Pi? Architecture of Raspberry Pi board, block diagram of Raspberry Pi board, and next is Raspberry Pi 5 installation. Installation is nothing but how to make Raspberry Pi prepare for boot. So, is everyone able to see the mic video? Okay. So it took long time to boot the Raspberry Pi OS. Okay. So one more time, I'll try to show you the reboot. Is everyone able to see the screen? This is the booting process. After our Raspberry Pi SD card is ready, I have to insert this SD card on my back panel of Raspberry Pi board. Once it is installed, the desktop comes, and here you can see in the right corner, it is assigning the Wi-Fi IP address. I have connected it using Wi-Fi, using my router. Okay, it has some assigned some IP address. We have Bluetooth also enabled. We can connect to the Bluetooth earphones or Bluetooth speaker or any kind of Bluetooth applicants. Next, if I open the terminal, so here is some terminal. So in Linux, we call it as terminal. Okay, I'll try to increase the font size. Zoom in. Okay, now you are able to see the screen. Raspberry Pi. So next, I'll try to share you the screen using some IP address. Okay, so I can connect it using SSH also on the same network. What was the IP address assigned to my Raspberry Pi? IP-A. If I type IP-A, it will show you the IP address. So here you can see the IP address 192.168.68.110. So the same thing I'll do SSH using my terminal. One 192.168.68.110, and the username is admin. Okay, connect. So it is saying the network connection failed. So there should be a enable of SSH. So while installing, I didn't enable the SSH. So how to enable SSH? I'll say you in the admin panel. So the SSH connection failed. So I have to do some SSH connections. So for that, I have to go to accessories. No, sorry. Preferences, Raspberry Pi configuration. So once I click this Raspberry Pi configuration, okay, you will be getting this wizard. In this wizard, go for interfaces and enable SSH button here. Okay, next click OK. Updating configuration, please wait. So once after the SSH is enabled, you check on the remote laptop, connect it. Yes, it is getting connected. I am giving the password. Yes, it got connected. So this is how I can connect to my Raspberry Pi using remote within the same network. If it is a different network, I need to have a VPN access. And we can do that VPN settings also in the Raspberry Pi. As the RAM is very low, okay, we need to have some external VPN settings. Is this clear, everyone? Someone was asking me how to get the remote access using SSH. Is it interesting? This is fully computer. This is full computer. It is acting like my laptop. So even I can take a class from this Raspberry Pi also. Jay Reddy, I am trying to connect my Raspberry Pi, okay, using my laptop in a remote connection way. For that, I am using SSH, Secure Shell Connect. For that Secure Shell Connect, I am enabling the Secure Shell protocol in my Raspberry Pi configuration. So loading Raspberry Pi configuration, go to interfaces, enable SSH. If you want to connect it to any of these interfaces, you need to enable all these interfaces. Okay, by default, all are disabled. Next, you can see the performance, system, okay, display, all these things. Time zone, set time zone, it is Asia Kolkata. And next is keyboard, US keyboard. LAN country, okay, it is UK based. Clear? So this is how we can build a Raspberry Pi. So here it is connected to my Wi-Fi home network. Next I have Bluetooth also. Add device. Searching for Bluetooth devices. Let us check whether it will scan my watch or my headset or my mobile phone or my speaker or my printer, anything. So if it is not scanning, I need to turn it off and turn it on and reboot and update. Next, after this, so I need to update my Raspberry Pi board. So to do that updates, I need to be a root access. Okay, sudo -i will give you the root access. Admin is a normal user. So here it doesn't have any privileges to execute super user commands. Now, next, how I need to update? Apt get install update. So it will keep updated. So if it is connected to internet, it will keep updated. And if it is already updated, it is a no package to update. Already it is the latest operating system. So here, if I am scanning something, it is scanning for some speaker. Okay. So Bluetooth speaker. Okay. If you see the Bluetooth devices, it is scanning for some Bluetooth speaker, which is in my home. Clear? Everyone is able to understand and follow the session clearly. And tomorrow we will see how to program Raspberry Pi and how to do the next level activities of Raspberry Pi using Python. Hope everyone followed the session. Interesting, understanding. Please let me know. So you want every time the attendance link, just for attendance sake you are doing the internship, or is it for learning sake? So when I was in my masters, to teach all these, I need to request my seniors. I need to ask my professors. This kind of activity we used to do. So we don't have these kind of sessions, and we don't have these kind of seminars and all those things. We are self-learners. So I appreciate all you are learning in advance these concepts. So as per your budget, try to afford a Raspberry Pi board and try to do as much R&D as possible. Okay. Is it clear, everyone? Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Sanjay, Tejaswini, Jay Reddy, PCS Prasad, Karishma, Nagarappa, Sharat, Shiva, Aditya. Oh, pass, pass. Priya, Devi Priya, Shanti, Anjali, Lalita, Surya, Chandrasekhar, Lalita. Yeah. Any questions? Once repeat topics, sir. So we have covered introduction to Raspberry Pi. What is Raspberry Pi? And evolution of Raspberry Pi. And Raspberry Pi versions or the different Raspberry Pi releases. And next is how to boot Raspberry Pi with Raspbian OS using Raspberry Pi installer and SD card formatter. Clear? So I am stopping the camera and I'll end up the session for today. And we will go deeper into the programming part tomorrow. Okay, in the next sessions, how to program Raspberry Pi using Python and later. Okay. Nasiruddin, today I have told you what are the topics we have covered. Raspberry Pi, what is Raspberry Pi, versions of Raspberry Pi, evolution of Raspberry Pi, and what board we are using, Raspberry Pi architecture, Raspberry Pi processor architecture, and the next is Raspberry Pi installation or booting process using SD card and Raspberry Pi installer. The complete process. Clear, Nasiruddin? Okay. So today is Islamic festival, Bakri. So I wish you all the friends. So that's all for today. I'm ending up the session. If you have any questions, please let me know. Aditya, I'm working in IIT Hyderabad. Thank you, Aditya. And I'm leaving for the day. Thank you.